What's happening, marvelous spider friends? Welcome back to Marvel's Spider-Man, and it's time for another costume showcase. And we're looking at the Japanese Spider-Man, Dr. Aaron Aikman, who I always used to pronounce Aikman or Aikman or whatever. So this is a scientist guy from Earth 31411. And it's really not all that important to talk about the good doctor. I mean, he's not Peter Parker. He's a scientist who recreates his Earth's version of, you know, the radioactive spider.
Yeah.
And he combines his somewhat spider powers with this mech suit that you're seeing. And he goes and fights crime in New York and has a girlfriend who is affected by the Venom symbiote or whatever. But none of that really matters because he's just like a blurb in the Spiderverse comic from, I believe it's 2014. He is trying to face one of his rogues, which I think the name is Namura or Numra, or not Mumra, but something Japanese. And he's doing really well. He's finally beating his nemesis, and then he drops dead because he's killed by who we will come to know as another one of the spider vampires, the Inheritors, which he's like, I am killed by some shadowy figure. Ugh. And that's it.
That was so short.
Exactly. So, I mean, Marvel was trying to add more cool Spider-Men, and, you know, this was a cool idea. It's a Japanese Spider-Man, a scientist guy, who basically, it's almost like they combined elements of the 70s Spider-Man Japanese TV show, minus the giant mech robot that he would summon, and, you know, his catchphrase about dragging people into the pits of Tartarus whenever he would arrive on the scene.
And you know it's the Japanese version because it's Spider-Man instead of
Spider-Man, yes.
It's not Spider.
Yeah. It's actually the Spider-Man, and he has a giant robot. And, you know,
cool.
It's a pretty cool show if you can find it on DVD to watch.
I love giant robots.
Yeah. But his costume is basically that of, like, the 70s American Spider-Man TV show, which, if you're going to watch a 70s Spider-Man, I would highly recommend the Japanese version, even though he's not Peter Parker. I mean, it's not that Nicholas Hammond did a bad job as Spider-Man, it's just...
He did a bad job.
No. It's just really hard to take the guy seriously when his version of scaling the walls was somebody put like a invisible rope on him, and then he wouldn't even, the stuntman would barely touch the walls when he's being dragged up a building. He just kind of glides up it. And they kind of hide it with the 70s music. Dun 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 do 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 ba ba da ba ba da ba dum do 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 do.
They should have tilted the camera like they did for the.
I know, but he just looks like he's doing this. How is that? That's not climbing the wall. So the Spider-Man Japanese show. I mean, he had a giant robot. He had a cool catchphrase.
And by this, Luke is doing the wax on, wax off move.
No, it's kind of hard.
More like
if I showed you what the 70s Spider-Man TV show looked like, where the guy's climbing the wall, that's where you lose. Okay, this could be
he loses all respect right there.
And of course, for all the other shots, they just did the basic 66 Batman show thing where they would tilt the camera so it would look like, you know, you're going up the side of a building and just kind of like pulling on a rope, and then for those weird, tricky shots where he would turn around and look down behind him, you know, he wasn't really doing that stuff, but that's when the wall crawling stuff looked legit. And then they went back to the terrible, let's pull him up the side of the building. Whereas Japanese Spider-Man, I don't believe they had him climbing giant skyscrapers. When things got too, you know, crazy, he would summon his spider bot, which I don't know the name of it.
That makes sense. Hey, that makes it seem a little less hokey and stuff.
It was still really hokey, but I mean, the show was actually pretty intense. I would kind of say it's like an early Kamen Rider show.
Wow.
So there are people that die, and the funniest thing about the show, I know I'm laughing about death, but
Monster.
whenever a character would be thrown off a cliff or a building, they would use a dummy. And it was really easy to identify the dummy. Like, Spider-Man would be fighting, and all of a sudden you see Spider-Man fall off the building. So some stunt guy would just, like, throw the dummy off. And they would do a pan-away shot, so you couldn't quite tell it's the dummy, but you knew, because the arms aren't moving or anything. But then you'd have Spider-Man going, "Yeah!" as the dummy is like just like falling straight down.
Wow, you really did your research for this, Luke. I'm so proud of you. You even went to the trouble to try to find a video where someone pronounced Aikman.
Well, I mean, this Japanese Spider-Man doesn't have anything to do with Spider-Man. It's a Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's cool. I really like the. I have to say, I don't know why, but his suit looks cooler than all the other Spider-Man suits combined.
I mean, this game, you realize that it's basically the spider armor game, right? There are so many different spider armors, but this is probably one of my favorite spider armors because I like the detail of it. Notice how he doesn't really have super jump ability, like, you know, most Peter Parker Spider-Man. So he has rocket boots or mech boots. That's really armor. So what I find confusing is how in the world was that Moreland guy, that vampire spider inheritor jerkface who went around, he killed the spider friends, Spider-Man, and only Miss Lion was around. I never liked the whole, Spider-Verse thing. But his suit was really cool. So how in the world, if it has all this scientific, like, advancements and protection, how did he die so easily fighting that, quote, shadowy figure? He didn't even really get any hits in. He just defeated his bad guy, which is essentially like a green goblin that kidnaps people for reasons. I don't know. For reasons. And,
to take their Starburst.
Exactly. He's trying to prevent Starburst from being stolen and save the children.
Thieves.
And, he's not really not paying attention. I guess he didn't have spider sense, because it's like he's there 1 minute and then you see him being offed by a shadowy figure the next.
Yeah. No spider sense because he constantly gets thrown off. Yeah. That's funny.
And I don't believe the Japanese Spider-Man had spider sense either, because he was always getting punched in the face.
Wait, so were they both named Aaron Aikman or no?
That is a really good question.
All right, I'm asking you the hard, tough questions right here.
That is a really good question. I don't believe so.
It doesn't matter.
Don't believe so.
I'm guessing the Aaron Aikman was the American version and the Japanese version was probably somebody else.
I know it was a really interesting name. Like,
yeah. But it was the same suit for both of them, right?
No.
Oh, it was really similar then.
Aikman's suit that you're seeing here, it looks like your typical, like, kind of like Kamen Rider / like mech hero or metal hero in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm sorry for asking so many weird questions. So
you're allowed to ask weird questions.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, but I do like the suit. I like how... I think that suit makes him look really cool with the shoulders kind of like higher than normal and the legs kind of wider than normal, like almost like he's wearing flare pants. And the muscles like kind of looking bigger on the forearms. He just looks more, it looks more like it's like he looks like an animated version of himself while he's wearing the suit, which is really cool.
I just find it funny that Arkham had to have a Japanese Batman or anime Batman skin, so Marvel has
Marvel did it too.
Japanese Spider-Man skin.
Yeah, it's like well, I don't want to say copied, but we'll say it's a trend.
We'll say it's a tribute.
Yeah,
I would go with that. But the reason why I like the Spider-Man show is because it essentially is Kamen Rider, minus the, Kamen Riders don't have giant robots. That's Sentai. But he has a spider motorcycle, and, he goes through stuff and the cycle, like, explodes, and they have, like... Well, I mean, the bike doesn't blow up, but, when he appears and stuff, there's explosions, so the bike would, appear inside explosions and all
Here's
cool
my
and
question, though. Like, everyone in the world loves giant robots, but Japan is the only one who can step it up and actually put giant robots in a lot of their shows and their...
Well, I mean, it was the 60s and 70s. I mean, they still have giant robots, but not as much anymore. They kind of gone the magical girl route a lot. Like Sailor Moon type stuff has been really big the past 20 years in Japan.
Whoa,
still
weird.
Yeah. So they have different versions of magical girls. Gundam made kind of a comeback, but not really. Oh, we should probably save that dude. Japanese Spider-Man leaps into action.
I feel like in another world, Gundam became so much bigger than it was because it never got to be as big as it should have been.
Oh, and while we were web-slinging, I was able to look up the name of the Japanese Spider-Man. It's not Aikman.
Takuya Yamashiro.
Yeah. So,
Takuya Yamashiro.
And how I researched a lot of the stuff with the dummies and stuff like that is I watched, believe it or not, they did honest trailers of Japanese Spider-Man, so if it's the same as Kamen Rider where they use dummies to throw off stuff, but
yeah.
The company that made Japanese Spider-Man is Toei, the same people responsible for Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, and pretty much every costumed, Godzilla, every costumed superhero in Japan.
Yeah.
Which, yes, Sentai and Kamen Rider are superheroes of Japan. They are superheroes. They appear in manga and all this other stuff, and they're really cool. So if you guys haven't gotten into that, I actually did order. I had a late Christmas present that it won't come until January, but I got Kamen Rider for the Switch from Japan. I forgot about that. I checked my email and it said I have it coming, and it's the English version, so it's a fighting game, like what came out on the PS4 last year. So
I still didn't get you enough for Christmas though. Luke got me all kinds of nice things.
I didn't wrap them though.
I know, but Luke got me
that doesn't count.
Sweaters
then
and
none of us got anything for Christmas because nothing was under the tree except for what our friends sent us.
You got me stuff on Christmas Eve. You got me warm things that I needed, and I didn't get you anything.
That wasn't Christmas Eve. That was the day before Christmas Eve.
But it's still
it doesn't count.
That counts as.
I mean, I was actually happy I didn't have to wrap anything, but the saddest part about Christmas for me this year is our really awesome tree that we spent so much for a couple years ago. We can't put up because of the evil kitten.
It's actually my fault we didn't have Christmas with the K-Wings, because I didn't go to the trouble of getting Luke anything.
Neither did I until, like, the day before.
I still have to make it up, but maybe I can make it up to Luke with some equipment for his
Birthday's
job.
coming, yeah.
Oh yeah, your birthday is coming.
Well, actually, it's not. I'm not looking forward to being 36, personally, but... Yay! Stick around in that tree, pal.
I just feel like the numbers keep getting older, and then the older you get, then people are like, and then you try to do, new things and stuff, and people are just like, oh, are you sure you want to try that now that you're getting so old? It's like, yes. I mean, why not? Oh, I think I'll just sit here with, with my rocking chair in my 30s and go, I'm too old to try that. It's like, I don't really understand why I would be too old when I'm in my 30s. It's just so
too old to begin the training.
Yeah, I know. It's just so mean. Like, the way that they talk to Luke Skywalker, it's like, he's too old to begin the training? It's so stupid.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, too, how Tatsu basically transforms is he does the Kamen Rider thing. He wears, like, a watch or a belt. And it's not that he just, like, runs somewhere and puts on the spandex suit. The suit, think of it like the Flash ring in, DC Comics, where the ring comes out and he gets all dressed and stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, he actually has a transformation sequence for putting on this, essentially, leotard. It's the weirdest looking thing ever. But, I mean, this suit, you can see here, it looks really cool, but... The character, awesome. I don't like the character because he gets killed off so easily, and unlike most DC events, it's a permanent death. So once the character was killed off, that was it. It wasn't like, oh, we stopped the bad guys and found a way to reset time or whatever.
Reset time. He's so cool.
Oh, they also killed Spider-Man Noir and UK Spider-Man this year too, and a bunch of other stuff. So even more cool characters are biting the dust.
Wow.
But anyway, in the comment section below, tell me your favorite Marvel hero you would like to be a Kamen Rider, and we'll see you guys with more Aquaman later today and some other stuff. God bless and happy gaming.